Austin and Danielle, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. It's exciting times, working on
Yeah.
new music, and I'm super happy to connect with fans in these fan stories around the world. And you're the first international
Oh,
fan to connect to. So I'm super happy you're up for the task. Tell us a little bit about you, because I know you sing, and you also have used the pandemic to get into some other very interesting uh, instruments, as far as I heard.
yes, actually. Where to start? March 17th last year was when I was laid off from work and put on temporary hold. Around that time was when I had actually connected with Ava, formerly of Celtic Woman, and I started taking Sean Notes lessons with her. I'm about a year into that, and I'm absolutely in love with it because I've always been a fan of the Irish language and just traditional Irish music in general. So I've been singing for most of the year, and just this past month, actually, I just randomly connected with a woman from Pennsylvania who was giving harp lessons, and she had a harp for rent. So I've been
Oh,
taking harp
okay.
lessons for the past month, and that was honestly a dream come true and just completely out of the blue for me because that was something that I've always wanted to learn how to do, but it just always seemed unattainable because I mean, the harp is something that you the joke that I always made was you have to sell a kidney in order to afford a harp because
Yeah, they're like,
it's
what's
just
what's the a lot of the viewers probably don't know what the price tag on a harp can be. Like, is there like a price range? I remember from my choir times, I remember basically it looks like a grand piano, the inside of a grand piano standing up,
mm-hmm,
and always there would be like two or three people bringing it out on stage until like this you most of the times it's a female person playing it would come
mm-hmm,
out and just look like an angel playing it, and
mm-hmm.
then these three guys would come in again and drag it back out. So what's the price range on one of those, and is it really that heavy?
So actually it really depends on what kind of harp you're talking about. The harp that I'm playing is a lever harp, which means the key changes are done via the levers and not the pedals.
Oh.
So that's one price point um, thing. Sorry, it's early that you have to keep in mind. Another thing is how many strings. So just for an example, I'm playing a Troubadour 2 by Lyon and Healy. That's an earlier edition, but it's 36 strings. It's
Wow.
Yeah, the current model is the Troubadour 4, which I think is going for like $4,900 right now. So, um, and yeah, it's a fairly heavy harp. I would say, approximately 38 pounds. But then you
Hmm.
have some harps that are like, for instance, the Dusty Strings harps, which are very
Hmm.
popular with the folk harp community. Those weigh like maybe 2,000. No, wait, I got that backwards. Those weigh maybe 22 pounds. The price range for those is around $2,000 there. I almost got that
Wow.
switched. So,
Okay.
but whenever you're talking about like the grand pedal harps, yes, those are quite heavy. I think the lowest price point that I've ever seen on those was like $10,000, and that was
Wow.
used.
All right.
So,
Okay. So how do you what's the process in learning how to play a harp? I've always wondered, because obviously with a what other instrument would you compare to it? It's not a piano. Playing a guitar is somewhat similar because you're also plucking, but you've
mhm,
got only like six strings,
yeah,
and you're playing 36 or 32?
36.
Jesus Christ. How do you start? What's the process in starting to learn how to play the harp? Is there also a left and a right hand version of
there
it?
um it's interesting that you ask that because my teacher Mariah actually is left-handed. That
Hmm.
does not change hand positioning or arm placement. You just
Oh, all
have
right.
to. But I can tell you that my first lesson was all about posture. It was all about
Uh-huh.
proper arm placement and
Yeah.
positioning
Yeah.
and how you lay your fingers on the harp. Like um fingers are straight down. You want to have the thumb straight out like you're giving a thumbs up. You want to
Okay.
keep that space there because you're plucking inwards with your thumb,
Okay.
which is a very awkward moment. that's a very awkward motion if you've never done that before,
It
especially
is.
with your
It is.
non-dominant hands.
Yeah.
Like I actually got sore in that muscle right there for a while
Yeah.
because so, and I'm still actually working on proper arm placement because you want to have them out like a ballerina. But obviously, as you get
Hmm.
tired, they're just going to droop downwards. And you don't even realize it a lot because you're so focused on,
Yeah.
okay, proper finger placement, where, what notes am I playing
Yeah,
and
totally.
such. So,
And then there's like, and then there's like all of these different strings to consider when you're playing,
mhm.
plus the strength in your hands, building that strength and being like like a bird, basically.
Yeah.
So, did you have, were you sore in your muscles also in the back? Does that happen or?
The back, not so much. I did get a lot of shoulder tension. I mean, partially
Hmm.
because whenever
Hmm.
I get stressed, that's just automatically where I hold it. But when you have your arms out like this, I have this really
Yeah.
nasty habit of bringing the shoulder up
Uh-huh.
without not even realizing it. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's just so many things that you just have to keep in mind when you're learning how to play this thing. So,
Okay.
but it's so easy to just zen out when you're playing the harp because you just get lost in the resonance every time you pluck the
Yeah.
strings. And it's just I'll sit down for maybe 15 minutes to just squeeze in some practice time, and then I look at my clock and I'm like, oh, it's been 2 hours already. It's just so easy to get lost in it. So
Have your neighbors noticed you practicing?
no, because I live in a house, so they don't get to hear me through
Oh, okay,
apartment walls
okay.
or anything.
All right. That
So
helps. That
yeah,
helps.
for
That
sure.
helps. So I think it's awesome you're using this time to, because there's
Hmm.
just so much time right now, to actually learn another instrument, which is super good for your brain health,
Hmm.
because it just connects so many new dots. It's like training your muscles just in your head. So I
Hmm.
think that's awesome. And you also sing, as far as I know. Is that right?
Yeah.
You
Oh
you
yeah.
sing in a
The
you sing in a choir, but you're also into Gaelic. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually haven't sung in a choir for a little while. That's
Hmm.
really sad to say that. I live in a very small town out in the middle of nowhere. I had mentioned last time we talked that I lived in State College. I'm actually in a small town about a half hour outside of there right now
Okay.
because my boyfriend's getting his second bachelor's degree.
All right.
And yeah, just waiting on him to finish that up. And then hopefully the plan after that is to go somewhere that has more of an art community and an art
Okay.
scene.
Yeah.
So
Which would be a city.
yeah, it probably would be a city, honestly. So, yeah, the goal actually is to get to the point and where I can play my harp so I can accompany my singing.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's
yeah,
going to be beautiful. Because
that's going to be
I've heard you sing before.
cool.
And then you singing and playing the harp is like, that's two luxury things at the same time.
That's
That's awesome.
going to be yeah, that's going to be quite a challenge though because I can barely sing and walk at the same time. So, that's actually something I'm trying to work on right now.
Well,
So,
the good thing is you won't have to walk while you're playing the harp.
that's true.
So
It's
that's
just
like
like
you're sitting
I keep
down and
that's true. It's just I mean, I remember watching Hamilton with my boyfriend not too long ago, just on a slow evening, and you're seeing them do like all these amazing dances as they're singing.
yeah.
And I'm just like, how?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
It is crazy. There are so many things to consider, but I mean, most of the performers on Hamilton are all triple threat people. You know, they're
hmm.
like, I mean, their schooling is insane, and the constant training they have. That's all they do
Oh,
all
yeah.
day long. So it's like, I think almost everyone would be able to do it if you train so specifically and every day. Like back then,
Hmm.
when I was in the choir in the Dresdner Kreuzchor, we had rehearsals every day, and even on Saturdays, sometimes we would rehearse for 5 hours. You know,
Hmm.
so that's like, the more you do the same thing over and over again, it's the same as working out and just building strength and muscle. And once your body, essentially, your body knows automatically what to do, so that's fine. Sometimes for example, I memorize some of the lyrics, not by the story that I'm telling through the lyrics that I wrote, but just by the muscle memory in my face. So when I'm on tour, most of the time I'm also thinking of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there are moments like where I sing and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna have for dinner later when we get on to the night? What kind of, oh, tomorrow? So I shouldn't forget to send out that newsletter tomorrow in the morning. And so sometimes sometimes things will be so automatic that you can start thinking about other stuff. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really when you're at the top of your performance, kind of, because
Mm-hmm.
it just becomes something that you can do at any time. And my vocal coach would sometimes wake me up in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, call me up and ask me to sing something.
Oh.
So yeah, and then go like, what's the second line from that part of that? And I'd go like la 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 la, and then it would be like, okay, good, go to sleep. So that's the kind of training sometimes that we would go through, just
Mm-hmm.
to be hands on at any time.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So how did you get into the dark tenor? I mean, you're in the United States,
Yes.
and I have a few fans in the States, but not so many as that I would say there's like massive posters going on and
Mm-hmm.
huge advertisement on TV. How did you find out about the dark tenor?
Okay, so I've actually always been interested in classical crossover music. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Lindsey
Yeah,
Sterling, the Piano Guys, Haley
yeah.
Westerner, Celtic Woman. There was a website that I frequented quite a bit actually called classicalcrossover.co.uk. I don't even
Hmm.
know if it's online anymore, but you were the featured artist on
Oh
there
wow, nice.
one day. And I think I told this story to you, but I'm going to say it again. I liked the getup, but at the same time, I thought it was kind of creepy. But it just,
Yeah, it was. It is.
I mean, you
I mean,
take
wait a
Diablo's.
second. Wait a second. Wait, I'll be right back. Uh, I'll show you how
Nervous
creepy it
now.
is now. Yeah, watch this. Watch this.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see if the connection stays up. Wait a second here.
Sure.
Uh, yeah, I haven't done this on video yet. Oh, wait a
Oh
second.
my gosh. Well, I'm
It's kind
honored, I guess.
it's not. Oh, wait a second. Oh, here it is. Okay, so there's like this. Imagine this
Yes.
Batman-ish kind of room back here. It's a vault where I store all the masks that I've used. So check this
Yes.
out. So obviously we're gonna do like a history thing right now.
Yes, of course.
This is a cool idea. So
Well, this is
um,
exciting.
there's the original mask, right? You remember this
Yes,
one?
I do. That was the one you were wearing actually when I found out about you.
Here we
So,
go. There it is. Okay. Yeah. So that's the one that I wore for the first album,
hmm.
right? I had it custom made with a designer in Berlin,
Okay.
which it's handmade and all that. It's I think I have two of them, just
Oh,
in
all right.
case any of it would break. So that's like, and it's got like a here we are. It's got like a leather pouch in the end on
hmm.
the inside,
I
so it
see
wouldn't
that.
hurt. So it wouldn't hurt your head, and then it just slips over like that, and then it's like a
Uh, yeah, I see that. That
see.
is so cool.
Yeah, so that's one of them, and then there's obviously there's the I call it the butterfly mask,
Okay.
which is cute as well, which gave me a little more
Freedom.
um, a little more freedom to eat and drink things, you
Yeah.
know. So it would just go on like this,
hmm.
with the thingy in the back, and then the guys in the band they would wear these,
Yeah, I
right?
remember
So
seeing that on the tour
and
videos. So,
that was for the second album that I did for
hmm.
Nightfall Symphony. And these are, oh wow, made in America. There you go.
Oh,
Not 99.9% leather. And I remember Eric, my music director, getting like a rash on his eye because he's allergic.
oh.
Yeah, well, yeah, he had to wear them anyway.
There was nothing he could do. He couldn't like put a layer in there. Oh no.
No, yeah, that would have been a great idea. Actually, we didn't come up with that. We should have put like, I don't know, maybe paper or something on the inside. Yeah, but for some reason his eyes didn't like it. I don't know
Mm,
why.
he's a
Yeah.
trooper.
Yeah, yeah, he really is. He's awesome. Yeah, so that's the little mask the little mask showcase right here.
Nice.
Yeah. It's rusted actually from all the sweat. Got like rust on it. I think you can't see the rust, can you?
No,
No, you can.
I,
No, you
I
can't.
not
Okay.
really.
Okay. So you found out and you thought it was creepy, which I totally understand because it was, and
I
that's what
mean,
we
it
wanted to do.
it was Phantom of the Opera, it was Diablo, it was
Right. Diablo.
Mordor from Lord of
Nice.
the Rings, honestly, the Black Mages from Final Fantasy. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was also very poetic at the same time. And one of the things that I absolutely loved, especially in your photos, was the showcase between light and darkness. And I
Mm.
absolutely love contrast in art. It's just, there's, let me give you an example. I don't know if you've heard of her before, but there is a Danish artist that I really like named Merker who
No,
blends,
never heard of her.
she blends heavy metal with Nordic folk music. And she just has this absolute,
Merker.
here, I can actually send the link to you later.
Is it
M,
Mercer?
it's Myrkur. But
Oh,
you
nice.
you
Okay.
have um the heavy sounds of metal just blaring in the background, but then you have her delicate, almost angel soprano voice floating above everything. And it just
Mm.
creates this really cool atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just,
Nice.
I feel like it's just it's the things like that that I think you remember and that sticks with you the most. It's what sticks out and who's breaking the boundaries and breaking the rules of art and
Nice.
such. So, and also just because I've always, I mean, this is partially because of my Asian background, just this belief that you can find harmony and beauty and chaos. It's just a matter of balance. So that's just a theme
Absolutely.
that I've always absolutely been in love with my entire life. So, yeah, I decided to give it a try. Your music, I mean. And also because your profile on that website gave you absolutely glowing reviews. And this and I trust their judgment. So the song that they had featured.
I actually remember calling or writing her an email. I forgot what her name is. Um, but yeah, I remember writing her an email and telling her about this project that I was working on before I even got signed to Universal Music
Mhm.
back then. And she was like, "Wow, this is awesome. Let me do something." So I remember calling her up, or writing her an email.
Mhm.
I think I did it on an email base. Yeah, and then she got excited about it. So good she did it. Good we connected through
Mhm.
that.
But the song that she had featured was "River Flows on the Edge." And as soon as I heard that, I was an instant fan. Like when you hit that first chorus, it was just instant goosebumps and chills. And I went and looked up your album like immediately after the video was finished. And honestly, your music came at a really good point in my life. And by that,
Hmm.
I mean, I was in a very dark place in my life at
Oh.
that point.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to go into the details, but it really helped me remember just the healing power of music. And it just kind of brought back like a lot of stuff that I had sealed away for so long, like my love of singing, my love of art and
Oh.
whatnot. Like a
Yeah.
few weeks after that, I actually called up a voice teacher to reschedule voice lessons. And
Oh wow.
that was the first time in 6 years that I had sung. I was very rusty, but it was so liberating to just let my voice out again.
Yeah.
And well, here I am. I guess just things come for full circle. And
Yeah. It's sad, but it sounds like an awesome story because I mean music is um especially in these times, we already talked about it. Music is something that is so important for
oh
so many
yeah.
people out there, and art in general, just attracting your mind away from all the problems and all the things that are happening, and just unifying and getting together in a spot that is the same for everyone because music basically touches everyone in the same spot and then spreads throughout the
Mm-hmm.
emotions that might be triggered by that. So yeah, music has always me singing all my life and always been in music, no matter if it was a violin or if it was singing or playing the guitar, whatever, whatnot. It also always changed how I thought and
Mm-hmm.
changed my mood and changed. So Yeah, by sometimes being sad, not listening to sad music, which will promote that, but actually listening to uplifting. Like when my girlfriend split up from me, that my first long relationship that I had, I was with
Mm-hmm.
her for 10 years. I
Oh,
decided to
wow.
listen to a lot of Bon Jovi
Mm-hmm.
instead of sad music or depressing music because uh, Bon Jovi always has a positive vibe, and it's always about um, get being on the other side of that dark place, but
I'm
pushing
just
through to be there.
curious.
So,
I'm just curious. What is your favorite Bon Jovi song?
oh my God, unfortunately none of the new ones. Unfortunately,
I
none of the new
actually, you know
ones.
what? I completely agree with you on that. I feel like I'm going to get murdered when I say this, but I feel like a lot of his newer songs have really
Oh my
started to sound
God.
the same. They just don't
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
same oomph that they used to.
Yeah. I mean, let's
So
not forget he's older
he's
now,
getting up there in years. Yeah, he's had a very long
and
career. So
yeah, and he's still selling tickets on a
I saw
crazy
him live.
level.
I saw him live twice.
Yeah.
Absolutely unforgettable.
Whoa, were you right up there singing with him or
Oh, heck yes. I mean, like, not on the stage, obviously, but I'd love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I
so,
mean, I went to see I saw two of his shows, and every time it was like, especially Living on a Prayer
oh,
is like yeah, and I got in through a songwriter that I met in Canada.
mm-hmm,
I got in contact with Desmond Child. No, not Desmond Child. Yeah, Desmond Child,
mm-hmm,
who's the co-writer of one of those songs of Living on a
mm-hmm.
Prayer and a few other ones. And Desmond is such a funny guy. He's so funny, and it's so crazy that um, that part was not in the song when they wrote
Mm-hmm.
it. This "Whoa, living on a
I
prayer."
think I heard that they didn't, I actually had heard that they didn't want that on the album initially.
Hated it. I was like, this is bad. This isn't good. This is horrible. Coming from Keep the Faith and When I Was Your Mother, If I Was Your Mother, and all of those
Slippery
songs on
When
the Keep
Wet.
the
Yeah.
Slippery When Wet album. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this band is really losing it. And then I just put away the album. Then I listened to it two years later, and it's one of my most favorite Bon Jovi albums. The vocals are flawless. The playing is incredible. The songwriting is top notch. It's a crazy album, and the lyrics they did are awesome as well. So, and then, yeah, it kind of got less and less interesting after that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, It's My Life was still a huge song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, crazy. What's your favorite Bon Jovi song?
Oh, geez. I'm not really sure because there's just so many that I love. I do know there's a ballad that he has, Thank You for Loving Me. It just tugs at my heartstrings every
Yeah,
single time I hear it.
yeah.
Born to Be My Baby. As soon as you hear him counting off at the beginning, I just have to start dancing. It doesn't matter where I am. I love it so
Yeah.
much.
2, 3, 4. Na,
Exactly.
na, na, na,
It just
na,
pumps you up
na,
right
na,
away.
na. Yeah. That whole
So
album's like that. That whole album's like that's the New Jersey album, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
So
one I even got that one as a vinyl. Yeah.
nice.
I think I even
So
got it here. Wait a second. I don't have a lot of, okay, let me show you some of my vinyls I have here. Watch this. Let's see. Uh, this is one. Let's see if you
mm-hmm.
can see it. This is,
Kind of.
here you
There
go.
we go.
This is a German record. It's an old one. It's called Weihnachten mit dem Dresdner Kreuzchor, Christmas with the Dresden Crossfire, which is not that exciting. Oh, wait a second. Here's one, which is a dark
Yeah.
tenor LP. Let me see here. Oh, here's one. That's Depeche Mode Violator.
hmm
More Depeche Mode. I'm not a big Depeche Mode fan. Oh my God. Milli
Mm.
Vanilli. Okay, I'm going to put this one
Okay.
away really quick. Then there's Alter Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Got that one. Love the vocals he does. What's this? More Depeche Mode. This I'm not going to show because it really scares me. And this is Im Schatten der Ärzte, which is a German punk band. Look, this
Mm-hmm.
is the look they had back then.
I see.
Typical. But where's the Bon Jovi? I can't find. It's probably at my mom's place back in Dresden. But I
Mm-hmm.
do have the New Jersey album as a vinyl, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that album.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the story
See,
about the artwork of the Slippery When Wet album?
I do not know the
Because
one.
it's
Tell it.
just because it's just black, right? It's like this
Mm-hmm.
black kind of slivery thing. You can't really read what's on it. So the story is the album cover was supposed to be pink, like a lot of the 80s bands were just like in that pink area and then all the hair stuff going on. And Bon Jovi said, "Only over my dead body will I have a pink album cover for the band Bon Jovi." So what he did is he went off to one of his photographers in New York, and he got himself a brown plastic bag, sprayed it wet. Or, no, I think it even got wet in the rain, he said. And he
Mm-hmm.
had it in his hand, and he wrote "Slippery When Wet" on it with his finger, had it photographed, and
Ah,
that's the album cover of "Slippery When Wet."
cool.
Weird,
Actually,
isn't it?
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's how art, you know, how art really comes to the surface. It just first of all being badass about something, and then it's just creating in the moment that things are necessary to be created. And
mm-hmm.
the fun thing is you can create anytime you want,
Mm-hmm.
um, no matter if you have a lot of listeners or not. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just I'm just in a lucky place that I have a few listeners that love what I do, and other than that, I'd probably be singing in a choir or be at the opera house or, be in the classical world somewhere. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just creating is something really beautiful. That's why I like you just, getting into the zone and playing the harp and singing. And those are literally the things that'll always keep you out of that dark place. That's what music
Mm-hmm.
does. It just changes the biochemistry in your head. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I feel like this pandemic, number one, it's exposed a lot of ugly things about art, and that it's still very much taken for granted, which is ironic because what did people do as soon as the arts disappeared? They went to Netflix, they turned to their favorite music, they turned to Spotify to listen to new artists. They
Yes.
learned a new skill, they learned how to paint, or they're learning a new instrument or something like that. It's just and it really irritates me because I feel like as human beings, it is just it's in our nature to create.
Totally.
But it's just unfortunately the society that we live in is just I feel like that the focus now is can we put a dollar sign on it or something? Is it something that we can capitalize on?
Hmm.
And as such, and you see this in the music industry a lot. I know that you touched upon this earlier. This actually reminds me of something that a friend of mine from Ireland had. He wrote a letter to the Irish Examiner and it got
Hmm.
published. And he had spoken about how Ireland has such a long tradition of music and storytelling and singing and whatnot. And yet, despite their wealth of talented musicians and singers, they never, ever, ever get the radio time or the credit that they deserve because
Yeah.
it almost always goes to the international superstars that have already been established. And you hear their songs like 4 or 5 times an hour on the same radio station. And he's just his whole point was if you really want to cultivate interest in the art, if you really want to sell this idea that Ireland is a nation of musicians, give attention to the local artists, support your local musicians, give them that time that they deserve. Don't just wait for them to be established first.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
so,
it's the same in Germany. I mean, here it's
uh-huh. It's the same everywhere, honestly. And it's just you got so many people who want to go into music or at least find their joy or their passion into it, but then you have
yeah.
people say, oh no, you unless you're on a stage in front of like 10,000 people, it's not worth it. And it's just I don't know, it's just
Well, I'm not in front of 10,000 people yet,
Yeah.
but
Oh
it's still
yeah.
worth it.
And I know, and I'm not by any means
No, no, no,
trash
no.
talking people.
No,
It's
no, no.
just
Yeah,
we need I honestly feel that we need to make music more accessible. We really do need to stop making
totally.
taking it for granted. And I have to
Totally.
talking about making music more accessible makes me it just kind of reminds me of one of the reasons why I actually started to stray away from classical music. I'm never going to be completely broken from it because it was my first
Hmm.
love. But I had been in classical music for a very long time. When I was an undergraduate, I had taken classical music lessons. I was trying to be a vocal major, and it
Hmm.
just didn't work out because I felt that it was very elitist and it also felt very restrictive. I felt that there wasn't a lot of freedom to be
Yes.
able to play around or explore the
Yes.
notes that you are singing. It was very technical. And I really, really, really do not like it when people place rules on any kind of art form. I strongly believe that
Yeah.
it's self-expression, it's creation, and when you
Yeah.
put rules down to bind things into place, is it even art anymore?
Yeah.
So it's just one of the reasons why I've started exploring more free forms such as Sean singing or Celtic music. I mean, like
Hmm.
when you listen to like, the Celtic legends, they're doing ornaments, they're holding
Yeah.
out notes, there's no set tempo.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, honestly, I
It's
feel
very
like,
free. Yeah.
oh yeah, absolutely. And that was definitely a very alien style to me growing up because
Hmm.
I'll go ahead and just give you a brief explanation of my Sean
Yeah.
lessons. It's learned entirely by ear. She sings a phrase for you, and then you repeat it back to her. And then you just basically keep doing it until you get it. And then you go and you practice it. And then after that, you basically, once you get comfortable with it, put your own ornamentations in. And there are
Nice.
times and where I will feel my voice just kind of start to flip over on its own. And I panic because I'm like, what's going on? And then she's like, no, 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 trust that, trust that, trust that.
Yeah.
Let your voice
Yeah.
do what it wants to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's something you're not taught in classical singing.
mm-hmm,
That's something you are taught to um, get around, right?
mm-hmm,
So yeah, I mean, classical music really is training in it, and I mean, my mom has played in an orchestra, in orchestras for all her life, and
mm-hmm,
it's always they that's all they do. They comply to what the music says, and they're not they're told how to interpret the music by the conductor, in the
mm-hmm.
end. So that's kind of how this whole group section works, and I think it's really nice you've gone into, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get out of the choir. I mean, in the opera house, the funny thing was in the opera house, the choir singers were all singing as if they were soloists,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's why you've got in these big orchestra, in these big opera choirs, it always sounds like there's like this massive one voice going on, but a lot of these singers, on the contrary to the church choir that I used to sing in, the Dresdner Kreuzchor, which is also very elite, everyone is trained to sound and behave the same. Whereas in the opera house, everyone's trained to have the largest muscle, and then everyone will use different techniques to get there. So, but that's what I found was super, super weird, and that's one of the reasons why I got out of wanted to get out of the classical music in that area, just because I noticed how 50-year-old tenors were still trying to be that voice and didn't nail it as much as they were supposed to, and noticed how much it was just coming in, putting on some costumes, putting on a beard, putting on a helmet, and
Mm-hmm.
then singing what someone else has written, and then have no feedback as to have you helped someone change their life or not. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it basically doesn't matter. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that's kind of the feeling that I personally had, and that's why I was like, okay, I really want to do something that expresses my individual need for music, and I want to do something that no one else has done before.
Hmm.
So that's something you can't do in classical music per se. So you really need to go out there and try and find a way to do that. And it doesn't matter if you have a huge audience or not, because literally all you're doing or trying to do is satisfy the biochemistry that's in your
Mm.
head, uh, whether it's by playing the harp and singing or walking straight and singing at the same time, or being on stage and play. I had to fight to play guitar at the same time and sing. There's still sections
Mm.
where I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, here's this. I always fuck this one up. I really need to. So yeah, then you concentrate and try and get that one right. But yeah, the individual need is expressing what you're feeling,
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter if you
absolutely.
have a huge audience or not. It's basically what does it do with your own body and the biochemistry in your head. So I'm
Yeah,
super
I
happy
can.
you're doing it.
Yeah, I can tell you that the thrill of performing definitely adds to that biochemistry too.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just, it's funny because I remember my first choir concert in such a long time. It was with the Boydell Singers in Ireland when I was doing graduate study, and I was
Hmm.
terrified because that was my first choir concert in years since
Yeah.
my undergrad years. And I was shaking, I was sweating, like my voice was drying up. And then the weirdest thing happened. As soon as we started walking out to the stage and I got on the steps, my body was just like, it just clicked into place. It's just like, oh, I know
Hmm.
this part. Gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
the body remembers. So,
Yeah, it does. It does. And I used to be really excited before I went on stage, but really the last time I can remember I was really shaky before I went on stage was when I performed with the Babelsberger Film Orchestra, which is one of the renowned German orchestras, in front of 6,000 people on Gendarmenmarkt in Berlin, in the middle of the town. And we were going to do Parla più piano.
mm,
And for all of the rehearsals, they had the wrong arrangement. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And at some point I said, I'm only going to do it if you guys have the arrangement that I practice with, that I
hmm,
studied, that I know how to do. Because we only have one rehearsal for this. So, yeah.
yeah, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah, so I refused to do it, and they rewrote my arrangement in the night, and it was totally unclear if we were going to do it or not. It was also taped by national TV, so I was like, "Oh God!" And so then they said, "Okay, we're going to try and get it done by rehearsal tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock." And I was like, so I went to sleep, and I was like, "There's a good chance I'm going to have to do it, so I better remember the lyrics."
Hmm.
Because it's all in Italian, right? So I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna? So I went to sleep with the lyrics in my head, and that's all I repeated the whole time until I fell asleep.
Mm.
And in the next morning, my head was still doing the repetition of it. I woke up and I took a shower, and I was still going, Parla più piano, and I was still, and then we went in. They had the right arrangement. We rehearsed it once. Everyone was happy. And then when it was full, 6,000 people were there. I was like, oh my God. And I stood there and I was like, I can't remember the first word. I stood there in my clothes and I was like, okay, let's do this. And then I was like, what's the first word?
Oh no.
What is the first word of the song? The orchestra was on stage. They suddenly had like flame bowls on the front of the
Uh-huh.
stage that we didn't have for the rehearsal that were they had like black smoke coming out of them, which we had not rehearsed, which is no problem usually. But I walked out on stage. Massive stage. I still could not remember the first word. There was black smoke that went into my face. I breathed in the black smoke. I had to cough. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst intro to doing it. And then the orchestra started, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to really fuck this up on national TV. And then it was just there, and I did it.
Hmm.
So, and it was so happy it worked out. I was supposed to do a second song. I was so happy it worked out. I walked off stage,
Oh, oops.
but I was supposed to do another song. I walked off stage, started taking off my in-ears. I gave them my microphone, and they looked at me and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I really, because I really nailed it. I was like, I really nailed this one, right? I really nailed it. And they were like, yeah, yeah, I mean, you nailed it, but do the second song. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, right. Okay. So I put it back in. My piano player, he was like, are we doing this? Are we doing Haydn Röslein now or not? What are we doing? Are we doing this now? So I walked
Mm-hmm.
back out on stage and I was like, oh man, I was so excited that I actually nailed this, and everyone laughed. 6,000 people laughed. And then we did the Haydn Röslein, and I'm
Nice.
unfortunately I messed that one up.
Uh, oh
Just
well.
yeah, yeah, just lyric wise, which is sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and you just have to be funny about it and not take yourself too serious.
Mm-hmm. That's something I'm still working on.
Yeah,
So,
just you make mistakes. Sometimes river flows on the edge. Sometimes I will not remember the first line of River Flows on the Edge. Eric will start there going ba-da-ding, da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. And I'll go out on stage and I'll be like,
it's gone.
I yeah, and Eric would keep playing and I would go like, hmm. And this is sometimes we do this as an encore, as the first encore song,
Mm-hmm.
just piano and myself. So there's no time code or light code or clicks going on or anything. So I was like, and I turn around to Eric, and he'd start laughing because he knows exactly what's going on. And I'm like, and I'd ask people in the audience, "Wow, I forgot the first line of like the hit song of my debut album that sold more than 100,000 copies in Germany alone." And everyone starts laughing, and I'm like, "No,
Mm-hmm.
seriously, I forgot the first line." And everyone goes like, "Oh, okay." And then the audience starts singing it back to me.
Aw,
And
nice.
yeah, so that I don't know why, right? It's like the first line so easy. Your time has come. I think,
Mm-hmm.
right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. The time has come.
Yes.
Yeah, so but that makes live music so interesting and so much fun. Also for me as a performer, because
It's kind of funny that you mentioned this because the absolute dream is to be on stage one day for myself. I'm not going to lie, but it is that fear of messing up in front of people that just honestly keeps me in place. Like every audition I go into, anytime that I have to
Mhm.
sing in front, like I could just be by myself, but as soon as I turn the microphone on, I just go into full out panic mode. So it's just, I mean, a few days ago, I took a video of me trying to play harp, and it was a
Yeah,
piece that I had played perfectly like 4 times prior to that. And as soon as I hit record, I just that first phrase just buzzing and plunking and I yeah, I'm trying to work
yeah,
on that. So my voice teacher is an absolute angel of a woman. One of the things that she keeps telling me is embrace the crack. If your voice cracks, embrace it. Find beauty in imperfection and all that.
exactly,
So
exactly.
we actually had a discussion about how, and she's a singer that's just basically one step below Broadway. So she's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
But just hearing her talk about her vocal woes and such and stuff like that, and just having this discussion about how she felt just in her um, just being an amateur singer in New York City, people tend to have people sometimes forget that singers are human too. We're not playing an instrument. This is us. Like this is organic. It's a part of our bodies.
Yes, it is.
So
And
it's just
it'll react depending on how much sleep you've had, what
mm-hmm,
kind of food have you eaten, what kind of drinks have you had. It's going to react to all of that. It'll
mm-hmm,
react to how much water you have in your body.
mm-hmm.
There's one sentence that one tip that my vocal coach always had for me is pee clear, sing clear.
I've heard that before. Yes, that is a phrase that I have heard.
Right? Yeah. So be hydrated all the time. I don't. obviously, I think I drink too much coffee, but
I drink too
because
much tea, so I know the struggle.
yeah, yeah, and so but I just love drinking hot water. My mom drinks a lot of hot water.
Hmm.
She puts a little bit of lemon in it though, which I
Grated
think.
ginger.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
Grated
For,
ginger. That's very good.
yeah, for some reason I don't do both. It's like I've
Hmm.
tried the ginger a lot. Obviously, I think for me it's too. It just for some reason it doesn't feel good to sing with that. And but you see that's the difference. It's like it's different with everybody, and it's
Hmm.
totally fine to be different. If you want to have like the specific sound you need to have on stage, you drink rum. For me as a singer, I used to have drinks with the band and with the crew after the shows. I don't do it anymore. I'll have like
Yeah.
one shot of vodka, which is super because it just disinfects everything that might be on your vocal cords from all the haze and all the stuff that's going
Hmm.
on stage. It'll
I'm gonna
just
have to remember
disinfect
that.
everything. Yeah, so it's not difficult to do actually. It's like on tour and 3 months before tour, I'll like not have wheat, not drink any
Mm.
alcohol, no sugar, no industrial sugar, that is. I'll just work out basically every day and
Hmm.
do my vocal stuff every day for 20 minutes at least. And then on tour, I do the same. And I used to have like a bread and snacks and sandwiches. And because coming off stage, your body wants all that fast, available, cheap energy. So
Hmm.
if there's a pizza somewhere, it's a real killer because everyone's gonna go like everyone that was on stage will go like, oh, energy, 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 energy. So on the last big tour I did, I said we're not having pizzas afterward. Words. We're gonna have like sandwiches if you want sandwiches. We're gonna have good
Hmm.
sandwiches on the bus, but I would just have like an avocado after the
Mm.
after the show, which would regenerate my body, keep me fueled up with enough fat and energy for sleep, so
Hmm.
I could regenerate. And that worked so well. That was so good for me.
Hmm.
Obviously, now I'm not doing it. I've gained weight through the pandemic, and I've
I think
gone,
everyone
yeah,
has. I'm finally
yeah,
starting to work out after almost a month and a half of telling myself that I was going to do it. I finally got myself off the couch. I'm starting slow. It's
yeah.
discouraging because I used to
It's
be able
good.
to go running for a while, and now I can't do 5 minutes without getting winded. It just really
Mhm.
sucks seeing how
Yeah,
far
you just have
back
to do
you.
it for a while. It just takes a little bit to get back into the
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
That's no problem at
Oh.
all. I have my weights here. I've started weightlifting again at home. Obviously, in Germany, gyms are going to stay closed for, I mean, it's hilarious. Germany is in a weird place right now.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's just probably going to take a while until we really get there,
Hmm.
so we can go back to the gym. But yeah, it's going to be everything's going to be fine, I believe,
Oh, yeah,
and we'll
absolutely.
be back on tour, and we'll have a lot of new songs out there, and we're going to have like it's going to be crazy. We're going to be
Hmm.
in in a place where so many artists are going to be on tour, and so
Hmm.
many new albums will be releasing
Hmm.
from all of these superstars around the planet. It's going to be crazy.
Hmm.
Seriously, it's going to be like for everyone out there, for every listener, they're going to go like, wow, so much music and so much art is being pushed out there. Yeah, it's going to
Hmm.
be crazy. Next year
Yeah.
in 2023. This year probably. I think all the major labels have been pulling the big albums from the big artists.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
But
All right,
exciting.
are you ready? Are you ready to sing your favorite song? Maybe just the
uh,
chorus.
oh, okay.
Which is your favorite song is River Flows on the Edge, as far as I understood, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But now I'm going to pull the lyrics up because that talk we had earlier is making me nervous. So,
I hope I get them right.
I actually have a little bit of extra time if you wanted to sing a bit more than that, but
All
it doesn't matter to me. Alrighty.
I think the Zoom call ends automatically after
Okay. So
45 minutes or so because I'm on the free plan
yeah, same
with
here.
this
So
one.
gotcha.
Yeah. All right, should we just do the chorus?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so this is Danielle Austin featuring the dark tenor
What?
with yeah, we're gonna sing together.
Okay.
I'm the featuring artist and you're the
Okay.
main artist, right? We're gonna sing together.
Sure.
This is gonna be fun. Do we have let me see, do we have the right key? Let me see here because I like going in all kinds of keys, unfortunately. Make this easier for you and me. River flows on the
Edge.
edge. Such a long, okay, so this is, okay, so this is the, ready?
Okay.
Two, three, welcome
Come
to
to
your
your new. Is there a
life.
lag? Is there a lag?
What? I
Is
think
there
there
a
is, but it
lag?
doesn't matter. We're gonna fight the lag. We're gonna fight the
Okay.
lag.
Will
Ready?
do.
Okay. Welcome to
Welcome to
your
your new life in
anytime.
eternal sunlight.
Spread your
Spread your wings
wings
to
to new
new heights.
heights. Only you
You will
will decide
decide what is
what is
next
next
to
to
become
become
on the
on the
edge.
edge.
That was a little,
Awesome, Danielle.
thank you. It was a little too low for me, I have to be honest.
Oh, that was the original. All right.
I know. I'm a soprano, so
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
that's
still,
fine.
great job. Thank you very
Oh,
much
thank you.
for singing. Thank you very much for sharing your story with me
Yes,
and
of
with
course.
us. Greetings go out to the States. Where exactly do
Yes.
you live?
I live in Pennsylvania. I'm originally from State College, which is smack dab, like quite literally smack dab in the middle of the state.
Ah, okay.
It's where Penn State University is, if you're familiar
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so there.
Well, I mean, it must be a great place because you do have internet there.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. It could be a lot worse.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. I really
Hmm.
appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to hearing more and seeing more from you. And send me some photos and videos of you playing the harp as well.
Of course, will do.
Awesome. All right. I'll end the recording, and we're going to have a talk after this.